You booked a shoot, you're gonna make some educational reels, but getting on camera makes you nervous as hell. Well, guess what? I'm gonna get you prepared for that shoot so you'll be ready to go. There are millions of reels being posted every day, and one way to stand out is to come prepared and know what you're doing. So today, I'm gonna walk you through how to prepare for your reel shoot so that you can make the best educational videos and help them stand out above the rest. Hi, I'm Ben from Blixlow Marketing, and let's get started. So we're gonna be using one of my clients' videos to help understand the structure of a reel. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you some more tips to help your videos stand out above all those getting posted. An educational reel can be broken up like this: a hook, a what, a guide, a close, and a CTA. So let's go ahead and look at my client's video and we can see how that's broken up. So we always start off his videos with a hook. So let's go ahead and watch the beginning real quick.
All right, I have a hack for you. Let's assume my daughter, Stella, who is 5 and loves bubble guppies right now, just bought a house and she's in contract.
So you could argue two different things. First is that his hook is, I've got a hack for you. So that could be the hook, but I don't think that's strong enough. But what he does do is follow that up with mentioning his daughter, and his daughter loves bubble guppies, so that it's kind of a little bit more entertaining and you're like, what is he talking about? So I would say that full intro right there is, hey, I've got a hack for you. Let's say my daughter, who is 5 and loves bubble guppies. I'd say that's a pretty good hook because people are gonna stop scrolling and try to figure out what he's talking about.
And loves bubble guppies right now. Just bought a house and she's in contract for $300,000. And the appraisal came back at $320,000. Well, instead of just keeping that as is, we increased the purchase price.
So now he's already gotten into the what. So he said that his daughter's purchased a house for $300,000. He said that it's got appraised for $325,000. And then instead of keeping it as is, and this is where it transitions from what he's talking about into the guide. So we already know what he's talking about is that someone's purchased a house and that house gets appraised for higher. So our what is covered. Now we're gonna get into the guide. The guide is where you are gonna help the audience better their lives in some way. You're gonna give them some piece of information that they can use to better their lives. So let's go ahead and look what he says.
We increased the purchase price to $320,000 and had the seller cover up to $20,000 of her closing costs so that she could now use that to wipe out her loan cost and buy down her interest rate. That put way more money in her pocket today and she was stoked.
So that's our guide section. Instead of keeping the price at 300 and just keeping the appraisal at 325 to realize that gain later, what you can do is raise the purchase price to 325 and then have the seller cover that gap, which is gonna put money in your pocket. So he's telling you how you can put money in your pocket today. And that's the guide of this video. So the close, what he's gonna do, one way to do a close is to wrap up the video, but what he actually does here is he adds a little bit of personality to close it up. So let's go ahead and watch that.
Money in her pocket today and she was stoked because now she can buy YouTube Premium and she doesn't have to ask mom and dad for it. But if you want to hear more about...
So his close was basically just adding a little joke at the end, kind of wrapping up the video, and then he goes into a CTA.
But if you want to hear more about this appraisal strategy, DM me and I'd be happy to tell you more about it.
So his call to action is to have his audience DM him. And that's what he wants. You could have people like, you could have people comment, you could have people follow. Usually what you want to do is you want to pick one, or you might get lost and not get any. So usually pick one. What he did is he wants people to DM him so he can start a conversation with potential prospects and then get them in the door. So that's his whole structure right there. He had the hook, he had the what, he had the guide, he had the close, and he had the CTA. So that's how you can structure your reel. Okay, so now that you understand the structure of a reel, it's time to figure out what you want to talk about. And my suggestion is to think about your target audience. What problems are they facing? What fears do they have? Maybe what's something they don't know but would help them along in their journey. Again, you are the guide, they are the main character. What you want to do is give them a piece of information that's going to help them improve their lives, right? So once you have that, once you have your topic, break it into your hook, your what, your guide, your close, and your CTA. Now, some people do better with a script. Usually I find most of my clients don't use scripts, but what we do is just break it into bullet points. So maybe go ahead and have a script for your hook, your 1 line, 2 line, first sentence, And then for your what in your guide, just make a few bullet points. Just say, okay, I want to make sure I talk about this, this, and this, and then go ahead and just use those bullet points instead of a script. Because sometimes the script can be hard to memorize. It can feel a little bit robotic, but when you have bullet points and you know what the structure of what you're talking about is, you can just free flow through that script, kind of like what I'm doing here. One thing I would suggest is a lot of people want to over-explain, maybe like I'm doing here, but what you want to do is keep it short, simple, to the point. Give them what they need, give them information that's valuable, and get out. Okay, so now you're ready for the shoot. Does this mean you have to nail it on the first try? No, you don't. What I would suggest is just taking 1 or 2 rounds through the reel just to get your whole structure down, your thought process, and then see if there's any things you want to add, any things you want to take away, anything that's too long. And then once you do those 1-2 drafts, you'll have a better idea of what the whole reel should sound like. And then you go ahead, hit record, and say your whole reel. And another tip on that, if you're still nervous about trying to get through the full reel in one take, don't worry about it. All you have to do is get from thought to thought. So say I'm trying to work on something right now. I can say, okay, you want to buy a house for $300,000 and it appraises for $325,000. Now I can pause, get my thoughts, what I want to say next. Instead of keeping it as is, what you can do is blank. So go ahead and you can complete a thought, pause, think about what you want to say, complete another thought, because those pauses can be cut out. But just don't pause in the middle of a sentence because that can get really choppy. So if I say, if you want to buy a house at $300,000, when it cuts, it may not sound as good. So make sure you complete the thought, you can pause, complete the next thought, and it'll still look good in the final cut. All right, now on to the bonus tip. And this is gonna help your reel stand out above the majority of reels that get posted out there. Most people, what they do is they talk to the camera and they just explain things. It's just bland. What Mario, my client, could have done is just said, here is a purchase price. If you get appraised for more than the purchase price, what you can do is take that purchase price, change it, and then have the seller cut. But do you see how that starts to get boring? It's hard to follow. So what he did was he added a story. My daughter bought a house for $300,000. It appraised for $325,000 and she was stoked. So what we did, instead of keeping it as is we changed the price to $325,000, had the sellers cover it, so that put more money into her pocket. You see how that's more engaging, and it also helps the audience visualize what you're talking about more and internalize it easier. Everything is a little bit easier to internalize with a story. So last bonus tip, and this is kind of a double. It's a hard one, it's something I'm trying to work on too, but adding personality into your videos is really gonna help your audience trust you. People can tell when you're just a blank wall reading off a script, but when you add your own personality, people can connect with you way more. But caveat, don't overdo it. Don't try to be someone you're not, because people can also tell when you're faking it, and that can equally be a turnoff as well. So be you and have fun with it. People are gonna enjoy it way more when they can tell that you're having fun doing this as opposed to you dreading it, because they can see it in your eyes that you don't wanna be there and they probably don't wanna be there either. So loosen up, have some fun, make a good reel, and help your audience. All right, so hopefully this helps a lot. I know many of you are nervous when you're about to go film these educational reels. You've got lights pointed at you, you've got a camera, maybe you've got a guy behind the camera watching you. It can be nerve-wracking for sure, but hopefully being prepared and being ready for the shoot can allow you to relax a little bit and just have fun. You're just here to provide value to people and help them. So don't be nervous, have fun with it. Thank you guys, I hope that helped.